There were many messiahs that lived from 600 BCE to 30 CE. My playlist, Messiahs Before Jesus, talks about each of them. The best source for information about Roman-Palestine, Josephus, wrote about them all. But which one did he write about the most? I counted every word Josephus wrote about each Messiah that is to be found in the most recent English translations of the Loeb Classical Library and compared them. Here's what we find. This chart is arranged somewhat chronologically. It is hard to get an exact chronological order of the messianic appearances of these Messiahs, but more or less this is what we find from Jesus of Nazareth being the most recent Messiah in this time period, who began his ministry sometime around 30 CE, and then down the line until Cyrus the Great, who was a Messiah in the 6th century BCE. I assigned 163 words to Jesus of Nazareth. However, I did account for every single word found in the Testimonium Flavianum. So in reality, Josephus likely wrote far fewer than 163 words about Jesus. Next, we see Judas the Galilean. Josephus wrote 626 words in English about this Messiah. Athronges, he wrote 740 words about. Simon of Perea, 515. Judas ben Hezekiah, 173. Chief Hezekiah, 189. And Cyrus the Great, 1,660 words. So as you can see, out of all these messiahs, Josephus wrote the least about Jesus of Nazareth. It's striking, and we should ask ourselves why. On average, the other messiahs are written about 4 times more than Jesus, 300% roughly. Many text critics claim Christians didn't just make up a large portion of the Testimonium Flavianum, but rather the entire thing. That Josephus didn't write a single word about Jesus of Nazareth. How is it possible that a Jerusalem Jew wrote little to nothing about Jesus, who lived in the same region, and was supposedly the one all-powerful God of the universe, who walked on water, raised the dead, did miracles? How is it possible that Josephus, without exception, wrote far more about each other Messiah than he did Jesus of Nazareth? Judging from a non-Christian author writing about life and times in the 1st century, perhaps the historical Jesus didn't measure up to the Jesus portrayed in gospel propaganda. I should point out that on the whole, if we zoom out from Josephus, Jesus was an extremely important figure, being written about significantly more than the vast majority of people in not only the 1st century, but in human history altogether. The facts of this video still warrant our attention though, that the best source for Palestinian life in the 1st century hardly mentions him. It's a piece of the puzzle that can't be overlooked.